Okay, Mod 4, Part C, Take 1. And we are live and everything's good. Here comes the sun.
So 2 days later, I get a call from my agent, and he goes, Rogerino! And I'm like, what? And he goes, you got cast in that part. And I'm like, what part? And he goes, that part you just went out for. And I'm like, no, I don't know what part. Like, what part are you talking about? Because in my mind, that audition had been so bad, so ridiculously bad for me that I had sort of blocked it from my mind at that point. He was like, the part where you were the lead's boyfriend, and you had, and I'm like, what? You mean the one where the producer put his head in his hands? I got that part? And he goes, yes, you did. And he hangs up. I am now a Maserati of happiness. Earlier, when he put his head in his hands, I was a Lamborghini of anger. I was angrier than anyone else in the world, faster. Now I'm a Maserati of happiness. I'm like, what? That producer? I love that guy. Hate him? What are you talking about? I love that guy. So I show up on set and I do my scene. At the end of the day, I've done my bit. I'm leaving the set now, so I've got my backpack on. I'm leaving my trailer. Your trailer is like, I'm from Vancouver, Canada, so we do a lot of American shows up here, and your trailer size is determined usually by the size of your part, the role that you're doing, as well as how well your agent negotiates trailer size for you. So often I'm in, really small trailers that are like coffins, big enough almost for me to lie down in and stand up and move around a little. Because often, like when I'm fulfilling sort of, doing smaller, medium-sized roles for a lot of American productions that come up here. So I'm walking by, I leave my trailer and I walk by the producer's trailer. Now the producer has a trailer that's like, the size of 18 Winnebagos. I'm sure that I hear horses in a hot tub in there. And it sounds like there's an orchestra warming up somewhere else, probably for the horses in the hot tub. That's the size of the trailer. And Mr. Producer, head in his hands guy, walks out at that moment. It's sort of dusk, and he walks down his couple stairs, and he literally bumps into me, like, bangs into me. And because I'm normal Canadian, I do what normal Canadians do. I go, oh, excuse me, sorry, I apologize for getting hit. Like, what? Oh, sorry, did my eye get in the way of your finger? Oh, so sorry about that, And I keep walking, and as I'm walking, it's like slow motion. Everything goes down to slow motion. Chariots of Fire music is playing in my head, and I'm slowly taking a step, and I'm taking the next step, and what's going on in my mind is, this opportunity is never going to happen again. Like, that's that producer. This opportunity is never going to happen. I'm going to be off the set. I'm never, most likely, ever going to see this guy ever again. I need to take this moment. And at that moment, I remember Roger's rule, the first one that we talked about, get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? So I stop in my tracks and I turn around and I say, excuse me, I don't even know his name. I go, excuse me, Mr. Producer. And he turns and stops and he looks at me and goes, yeah, Roger, what's up? Like, he knows me. He's been watching me on he's been casting me and watching me on monitors and stuff. And he goes, yeah, Roger, what can I help you with? And I sort of walk back to him and I go, I just got to ask you this question. So you did something in the callback that was a little bit unsettling. I'm just wondering why you did it. And he goes, what did I do? And I go, when I did my scene, you put your head in your hands and like, you didn't watch me. And he goes, what? I did what? I did what? I did not do that. And I'm like, yeah, like, here, let me show you, because because I'm an actor. So I show him, I go, this is what you did. I was doing this, and this is what, and he goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right, Roger. You had a goatee for the callback. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. And he says, and we asked you to shave it off for the scene, for the, show. And I go, yeah, that's right, you did. And he goes, that's right, buddy. With your goatee, you just look too old for the part. You just look too old. But the moment I took away the visual and I listened to you, I knew you were perfect. Do you see how close I was to totally blowing it? Totally blowing it. Because I totally misinterpreted what he was doing. Now, let's put this, let's sketch it out. He was only doing what he had to do to get me the part. right? He was only doing what he had to do to get me the part. And I totally misinterpreted, because when we're under stress, we automatically default to negative. This is what neuroscience is teaching us. We automatically default to negative. We have a symptom called positive amnesia. This is another neuroscientific finding. So when we're under stress, what happens to our body and our brain is that blood and oxygen flow to the parts of the brain that remember negative, that deal with negative. So what happens is that you get this overabundance of blood and oxygen in the part of your brain that deals with negative, so that when you're under stress, the negative part of your brain is super powerful, is super potent, and basically takes over, letting the positive side of the parts of the brain that deal with the positive memories and ideas to actually experience something that neuroscientists call positive amnesia. So what that means is that when you're under stress, and as the stress heightens and increases, you will continually over-remember the negative. The negative will seem so present and so complete that you actually forget positive things that have happened to you in the past that are exactly in the same situation. You're getting ready to go do a talk, you're at home, it's maybe, it's early days, or you're, for whatever reason, really nervous. Maybe it's a really important talk. Maybe this is a talk that might lead to, multiple months of work, or whatever. And you're nervous, and you're leaving home. What you don't want is your significant other to go, hey, don't blow it. Because your brain is already providing that. It's already screaming, you're gonna blow it, because it's got all this negative blood, oxygen, and brain power working for the negative. What you desperately need are people to remind you, including yourself, of the positive. So you need to have people say things like, hey, remember, you've done this many times, and every single time you've done it, it's been a hit. Or remember, you've done this three times in the last 3 months, and every single time you did it, you came home super stoked because it went so well. So let's keep that in mind. So you fight back with the positive, because neuroscience teaches us that under negative, our brain over-remembers the negative and has positive amnesia. So in that moment, I'm looking at him, and the producer is saying, basically saying, I had to do this so that I could get you the part. Because we always, if we don't fight back with positive, we will let our stress turn into negativity, and our negativity will overwhelm us. He was only doing what he had to do to get me the part, but I totally misinterpreted, because that's what we do. Remember I said there's 12 million stimuli that comes in every moment? Well, so imagine your brain responding only to the negatives, right? That's what we're talking about. So you fight back with the positive. I want to talk about this from another angle. So we're going to come back and do this in in part 3. So mod 4, part C. I'm going to read 3C, whatever. Sorry about that. But we're going to come back and talk about how to think about this more from a speaker point of view. Okay, so this is going to be a story directly related to you speakers, to us speakers.